It sounds like something that would happen in Cuba and not the United States. A professor from South Africa says he was banned from entering this country because of his opposition to the Iraq War. That's why tonight's annual meeting of the American Sociological Association in Atlanta is a celebration of sorts. Professor Adam Habib spoke on that panel. His presence is a victory for the ASA after it sued the State Department to let Habib enter the United States. In January, though, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton lifted the ban against a political scientist. Professor Habib joins me now. Thank you so much. So when you learned that you would be able to come back into the country, what were your feelings?
Oh, I was thrilled. Not only because this ban applied to me, it applied to my children. You know, Irfan was about 14, but it applied to him when he was 13, when he was 11 at that stage, to my younger child, Zidane, who was 7 at that stage. So, and Irfan was supposed to come to the United States on a tour. I couldn't let him come to the United States. How do you explain to an 11-year-old that he can't come to the United States?
How did you find out that you couldn't come back?
Oh, I had come into the United States. I flew into JFK, and then suddenly I'd flown in a number of times. Previously came into JFK, and then they said to me, they took me to the Homeland Security office at JFK. And they interrogated me for...
Called you a terrorist, you said?
Well, they kept me around for 5 hours, 6 or 7 hours, and then that afternoon they said to me that they were going to deport me back on the flight back to South Africa.
And you went back to South Africa and you were
Before that, they then interviewed me and said to me, are you a terrorist? And my response was, you know, to be honest, how long have you been doing this job? Has anybody ever answered yes to this question?
We have all heard the stories. And many people didn't think that it was real, especially during the Iraq War. But you said because of the circumstances, you had no other thing to pin this on but that. And all of a sudden now you were allowed to come back.
Well, the question is, between the last time I'd come in 2004 and 2006, what had changed? And the only thing that I can imagine was the Iraq War. There were demonstrations in South Africa. I was opposed to the war. I addressed those demonstrations. I did say very clearly that I thought it was a wrong thing. I still hold that view, by the way.
You're talking here, you said, you know, I love being able to come back. You love America.
I lived in America. It's, if you like, it's the only other place that I lived in besides South Africa. So it's like a second home to me.
Yeah.
And of course I love it.
And part of that is because of the freedom to speak and the freedom to demonstrate and do whatever. And so to have that happen in America, it just, this is going to sound strange, did it feel un-American to you?
Absolutely. Yeah. I thought it violated the very spirit of what it means to be
American. The lesson here?
I think the lesson is absolutely, we need to make sure that this doesn't happen again. There are lots of people that are still excluded. I was lucky because the thing got raised, and the American Sociological Association, the ACLU took up my case. But there's lots of people who didn't create that kind of splash. And the victims, they don't have anybody defending them. And I think it's important for the ACLU and others to be able to address all of those issues.
Professor Habib, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Appreciate you coming in.
My pleasure.